Alright guys, so here's the full review of the Pagani Design PD1679. So this is the Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean homage. So a few little issues cropped up in the unboxing and first impressions. So if you haven't seen that, you probably want to check that out first. I'll leave links in the usual place and probably down in the description as well. Because like I say, a few issues cropped up. I'm probably going to be going into a bit more detail and expanding on them, see whether things changed or not. So if you want to know what they are, plus see what the new packaging's like, check that out. But other than that, let's get right down to it and see what I thought. I do actually like this quite a bit now, the more I've been wearing it. It's grown on me. I wasn't too sure to begin with, but I've still got a few issues which I did bring up in the unboxing, but we'll talk about them as we get on through this. So first off, let's get a zoom in on the dial. I do like those applied indices. Got actually quite a bit of height to them, which is quite nice. And then the applied 12, 3, and 9 as well. It's a nice touch. And I do like that they're all colour matched, just with the overall colours of the rest of the watch. The blue, red and white. They definitely coordinated it nicely. And I also still really like having the date window down at the 6. I just love the symmetry that brings. Wish all watches have that, to be honest. Definitely my preferred place for it. And everything is really crisply done. No obvious issues on the dial. And then we've got the fully printed text with the Pagani at the top, with the logo. The automatic water resistant 100 meters at the bottom. And then right at the bottom, either side of the 6, we've got Japan movement, which I think is quite nice. Instead of having the usual Swiss movement that you get on the Swiss watches, they've added that in there. Got a really nice sign crown, with a nice little orange detailing bit in it. And we've also got the signed, well, helium escape valve. Obviously it's not actually a helium escape valve, but it looks fine, I guess, for what it is. Flicking around to the back, quickly take a look at this case back again. So we've got the standard NH35 that you get in most Paganis. I don't really know why they use display case backs for NH35s myself. It's not exactly a good looking movement. I'd rather have a nice case back, solid case back, with a nice design on. But I guess some people like it. And then we've got the 100 meters water resistant stainless steel Pagani design, and it's a screw down case back. Quickly zoom back out and let's talk about this strap. So it is an interesting one. So you got the nylon on the top, and then the rubber, and then the stitch together. Stitching is really nicely done, and again, just nice little details in there with the colour. Little zoom in again, actually. There we go. You can see there's nice little red bits in between as well. Again, just a really nice touch. Again, just bringing the overall design together. I do appreciate that. And then we've got the Pagani design logo on the clasp. And then it is an Omega style clasp. So I do quite like these. Obviously with a rubber strap it's not going to be as big a deal as it is with the leather, because these are meant to be to protect the strap, to stop it from getting overly worn and bending around too much. Just slide it in like that, pop it in, and then when you fold it over you've got the excess neatly just pushed underneath, and then it clips in, instead of having to bend it around if it was a leather strap and try and force it through the keepers. So I do quite like that. And I do also really like this, that rather large chamfer breaks up what is quite a chunky watch, quite a chunky, what otherwise would be a slab-sided watch. So I do like they've done that. So now let's get on to the bit you're probably here for, the dimensions. Starting with that thickness. So it's coming in just under 16mm, which is obviously pretty chunky, but I'll show you what it wears like on wrist in a bit. Then we've got a diameter of just over 42 and a lug width of 20 with a lug to lug of 48. But then if you include the actual strap it's on, it wears more like a 51, just over. So something to bear in mind. Before we get on to the Lume and sapphire tests, let's quickly talk about this bezel, because I did have quite a bit to say about it in the unboxing. I think it's got slightly better since then, the more I've used it. I still don't love it. Don't know if this is going to come up on camera. There's quite a bit of wobble to it, which I think might be part of the issue. So perhaps I just got a bit unlucky with mine. But it's 120 click. And it does actually line up, which is the main thing, I guess. Because I'm not going to be taking this realistically diving anyway, so that's not really too big an issue. The other main issue I had with it though is this red section. So the rest of the bezel is actually ceramic, but this red bit is actually painted on top of that. And as I mentioned in the unboxing, it has actually spilt over into that 2 on the 20, which is a bit of a QC issue, a little bit disappointing. So if you are going to pick one of these up, I'd probably recommend going for the black version, so you don't have this bezel issue. Well, the colour issue anyway. Because the blue dial version has the same bezel, I think. So something to be aware of. But like I say, functionally it works, it just doesn't sound great, and this red section can be a bit problematic. Also, I do kind of worry that this could end up scratching off, with it being just painted over the top. Again, if you get the black one, that's all black, so it's not going to have that issue. So now, let's check out whether this is actually sapphire crystal. I think standing this up is probably going to be the easiest way to do this. Yeah, there we go. So, here's the trusty Diamond Selector 2. Yep, we've got sapphire. Let's quickly test out the back. And that is just mineral crystal on the back, which isn't really too surprising. You don't tend to get sapphire on the back of a lot of AliExpress watches, or at least not in my experience anyway. So the other interesting thing that you're probably going to want to know about this watch, what's the lume like? So let's find out now. So you can probably see it slightly, but let's charge it up, give it a proper chance. And there we go. This seems to be a bit of a running theme with Paganis lately. I've noticed that a few of the ones I've tested out seem to have two-tone lume, which is a little bit strange, I think, really. Don't know if I'm overly keen on it. And with this one in particular, it is a little bit odd looking. So the little arrow is the minute hand, obviously. The one over at the 8 o'clock. Then the little ticking one just coming past it now is obviously the second hand, and then the big one is the hour hand. So they've got a blue kind of lume, which is clearly brighter than the green which is on the indices and on the lume pip as well. I personally would have preferred to see that blue on everything, because it seems to be brighter. I just think it's a nicer colour as well. Plus it suits the watch better. And overall, I think it would have drawn everything together a bit better, as well as performing better. But it stays at this kind of level now, a decent amount of time. Obviously the indices have faded quite a bit. The hands are still looking pretty bright. As always, slightly brighter than the camera's actually showing. With the naked eye it is a bit more legible than this. But slight improvement over previous Paganis, but not by much. So all that's left to do now is show you on wrist. So this is what it looks like on my 7-inch wrist. It does wear quite nicely. It is obviously rather tall, so if you do want to pick one of these up, bear that in mind. Also, with that lug to lug, I'd say if you've got smaller than a 7-inch wrist, it's probably going to be a little bit too big. Because with it being relatively flat case, not really much curvature to those lugs, it's not going to conform to wrist very well. If you've got a smaller wrist, it's probably on the limit of what I'd say is wearable for a 7-inch. Obviously if you've got bigger, it's not going to be an issue. I do quite like as well this Omega style clasp, with it having, granted, a bit more bulk at the bottom, but I think it kind of balances out with the weight you've got at the top. So in this particular case I do quite like it. And with that strap, it's really comfortable. So far it's holding up pretty well. No real issues, bar that bezel more than anything. Obviously the lume isn't fantastic. It's slightly better than some other Paganis, but not by a great deal. Does it justify the price difference? I'll leave that up to you. But that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.